Ukrainian defenders landed in the temporarily occupied by Russia Crimea, and a new stage in the war has begun. So, you're on Yakovlev channel, and this is a news release regarding the war in Ukraine. On August 24, Ukraine celebrated Independence Day, and at the morning of August 24, a battle took place in occupied Crimea. Ukrainian intelligence units landed on Cape Tarhankut, and that was just the beginning. Then units of the Main Directorate of Intelligence made a landing on the territory of Crimea. One of the representatives of the intelligence confirmed the conduct of special operations in cooperation with the Navy. According to him, the goal has been achieved. There are no losses among the Ukrainian personnel. Special units of watercraft landed on the shore in the area of Olenivka and Mayak settlements. The enemy suffered personal losses, and enemy equipment was destroyed. At the same time, the Ministry of Defense of the Russian Touristic Federation stated that 42 drones attacked Crimea that night. According to British intelligence, Ukraine and Russia has fought for the so-called Boyko towers in the Black Sea. Those platforms not only control valuable hydrocarbon resources, but, like Snake Island, can also be used as forward deployment bases, helipads, and to host long-range missile systems. Ukraine has regained control over all 4 Boyko towers in the Black Sea, and this is confirmed by the Main Directorate of Intelligence of Ukraine. And this is for the first time since 2014, when Russia invaded in east and south of Ukraine. In the picture, you can see the location of the Boyko towers in the northwestern part of the Black Sea. And the fighters of Ukrainian Main Directorate of Intelligence covered this entire distance under air fire in rubber boats. Also, during the operation, it was possible to capture valuable trophies. A supply of helicopter ammunition such as unguided aircraft missiles, as well as the Neva radar, which can track the movement of ships in the Black Sea. The return to control of the Boyko towers is partly an answer to the next question. How does Ukraine destroy the Russian fleet without having any ships and submarines? We have already said in previous releases that Ukraine modernized its Neptune missiles and now can reach Moscow. Well, this is actually not our goal yet, but in the Ukrainian Crimea, the missiles definitely reached its targets. And this is a serious step towards the occupation of Crimea. So, a new stage in the war has begun. The night between 20 and 13 September, Sevastopol City, Crimea, shipyard area. The ship-repaired plant of the Russian Black Sea Fleet was on fire. The Ministry of Defense of Russian Federation reported that as a result of the attack by 10 missiles and unmanned boats, 2 Russian ships were damaged in Sevastopol City. As a result of the attack on Sevastopol, the diesel-electric submarine called Rostov-on-Don and the large landing ship called Minsk were damaged. Actually, they burned out. The missile strike on Crimea was carried out with the help of aviation. Most likely, Western long-range missiles Storm Shadow and Scalp were used for the attack. In addition, on the night of September 14, there was another attack on Crimea. And again, a brilliant joint operation between the Security Service of Ukraine and Navy of Armed Forces of Ukraine. Occupied Crimea, Yevpatoria City, the myth about the invulnerable Russian air defense system, that called Triumph and actually cost about $1.2 billion, has fallen apart. The Triumph installation was destroyed by missiles and drones. After blinding the enemy, the air forces launched cruise missiles, and as I previously said, it were Storm Shadow and Scalp, which were launched from a bomber Su-24. And it would be less offensive for the occupiers if their air defense system was destroyed by tanks or an artillery strike. Then occupiers could say in justification that the system is designed for completely different purposes and blah blah blah. But the beauty of the situation is precisely that the Triumph anti-aircraft system was destroyed precisely by an airstrike. The first strike was by drones on radar and antennas to destroy the missile detection system. And then the expensive installation Triumph, that actually is the most expensive one available in the Russian Federation, simply went blind. And then two Neptune missiles dismantled the working part of installation, its C-300 and C-400. And a satellite image of the consequences of the attack on the Russian air defense have already been published, and you can see it. The security service of Ukraine in Crimea works really so sufficiently. But of course, in practice, everything is more complicated. Reconnaissance, careful preparation, and only then, that one fatal blow that we can see. Also last week in Sevastopol city, Crimea, an experimental drone of security service of Ukraine called Sea Baby shot down the Russian missile ship called Samum. The drone hit the rearward side of the Russian ship, causing significant damage, and the ship wasn't available to move. These drones actually are capable of operating in storms, hiding from detection behind high waves. Great Britain, our staunch ally, has included the Russian private military company Wagner on the list of terroristic organizations. And we will just remind you that the leader of terrorist Russian Federation, Putin, publicly acknowledged the financing of Wagner mercenaries from the budget of the Russian Federation. Do you even know how we say in Ukraine? Tell me who your friend is, and I'll tell you who you are. So, until September 13, dictator of North Korea, Kim Jong-un, arrived in Russia to meet with dictator Putin. And another friend of dictator Putin, dictator Lukashenko, the self-proclaimed president of Belarus, was found to be involved in the war against Ukraine on an equal footing with Putin. And European Parliament called on the International Criminal Court to issue a warrant for arrest of Lukashenko. Meanwhile, Biden will meet with President of Ukraine Volodymyr Zelensky in Washington on September 21st, which was confirmed by White House. Well, and who is your friend? This was the last main news for today regarding war in Ukraine for recent few weeks. Thank you for staying with us, for supporting Ukraine. Glory to Ukraine and to everyone who helps us. See you next time.